Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus, and welcome to another analysis video. On the agenda tonight, we have Danny Gatton, and this is going to be a little bit of a fun one because Danny does some really interesting playing here. So I'm going to get him up on screen, and let's see how Danny gets on.
Sneaky, wasn't it? That's as high as it goes.
I'm just gonna jump in here because what I love about this performance is Danny's so relaxed and it's so cool, and just at the end there he's just taking that note as high as he could take it, literally on the string, until he gets all the way up to the bridge of the guitar. So it's actually really great playing, and people that don't play guitar might not know that you can literally slide anything up and down those strings and you're going to get the sound of slide guitar. Obviously some things work better than others, and you don't want to use something that's going to stick. So something metallic or even a pen, you can just hold it against the strings and move it up and pick the string and you'll get that slide guitar sound. Danny here's using a bottle, which is what people used to use back in the day. It's called a bottleneck slide, so they use the neck of the bottle, or here Danny's using the base of the bottle. And just a quick word about Danny as a player. I think he's certainly not a household name, but people that play guitar that have obviously seen him play know how good Danny was. And the fact that a lot of top players, you got Steve Vai, Joe Bonamassa, Les Paul, Alvin Lee, Richie Sambora, the names go on and on in terms of people who really admire Danny's playing and have just got great words to say about him. So if you don't know Danny and you haven't checked out his playing, make sure you do, because he's got so much great technique in there. I know this is a bit of a fun video here, but other stuff that Danny's done, you'll see that he was just a great technical player, but he paired that combination with feel and groove, and he put that all into his playing. So what a great player Danny was. And the way that Danny incorporates these different techniques of blues, jazz and rockabilly as well. He's using that hybrid technique of holding the pick between thumb and first finger, and then using second finger and third finger as well to then pick the strings. But he also goes off into those more technical elements, like I said, with that alternate picking and economy picking as well. So Danny's got all of those weapons in his arsenal, so he really covers all the bases when he's playing. And that's why he's got so many admirers, because his technique was really top notch. But let's get back to the video. Danny now is having to towel down the guitar because obviously it's got a bit wet where the beer was spilling over because of him shaking the bottle up. But let's check out a little bit more. I'm just going to quickly jump in here just because of the fact that when Danny puts the towel over the guitar and starts moving it up and down, you get that harmonic sound or dampened harmonics, and that's something that Van Halen used to do in terms of holding his hand really lightly over the strings and striking the strings and moving his hand up and down really lightly so that he's getting all the harmonics up and down the guitar. And it had that similar sound here. Obviously Danny's got a really clean tone here, or at least a lot cleaner than Van Halen had. When Van Halen did it, obviously it stood out a little bit more, had a lot more sustain because of the fact of the tone that he's using. But that's exactly what this sound is, just catching all those harmonics up and down those strings and just striking the strings all the time. But let's get back into a little bit more.
To rock and roll.
I'm just going to pause it there because the video is about to cut out. But what I love about Danny's playing there with the towel over the top, obviously it's going to dampen the strings, but Danny's playing is really good, playing with the towel over the top. I like to think that he's looking at the guitar and he's just seeing where the wet patches are, and he's just moving to each patch, drying it off, but playing at the same time, just playing different really cool lines. And the only reason that he's in that section of the guitar is because he wants to dry that bit off a bit more, and then he'll go down to the bottom just to dry that off, but all the while playing really cool licks and runs. The great thing is that if you were to listen to this and not watch it, you'd obviously think that he's using a lot of palm muting or he wants that certain sound. You wouldn't realize that he's playing with a towel over the top of the guitar because there's so much great technique in there on the right hand. Obviously the right hand's not affected, so he can still go through all those picking techniques that I mentioned earlier in the video, and he's so cool and accurate with that right hand that having a towel on his guitar doesn't affect how well he's picking with that right hand. And all of the notes, you can pretty much hear them, they're muted, but he's got perfect technique with that synchronization, as I always say the top players have. And another thing, when he has the towel hanging over the neck, he goes into that overhand position and continues to play. Again, with that, he's got no reference point of where the frets are, so he just knows the fretboard so well that he can play all of his lines. And one thing that I do mention in other videos is about knowing your shapes, so that you start to get used to the distances between notes and where your frets are, because you're so used to playing in particular shapes. Once you start playing overhand, you now have to teach your muscle memory where those shapes are for now a reverse order of your fingers. Normally it would be first finger, second finger. Now it's little finger, third finger, second finger. So again, just you have to spend a lot of time playing overhand just to get that muscle memory used to it. You don't really appreciate, or at least people who might not play guitar don't appreciate the amount of ability and technical ability that's actually going on here because it is so light-hearted. And you tend to find that a lot with some guitarists who are very entertaining. their playing often gets overlooked as to how technically impressive it is because they pair it with that entertainment and sometimes even with comedy. And there's a lot of comedians out there who are great musicians, but because of the comedy, some of the technical elements of their playing gets lost. But this is the case here with Danny. It's so entertaining and so cool. If you play guitar, you know how difficult this is, what Danny's throwing together here. But Danny Gatton, what a great player, and admired by so many other top players as well. If you haven't heard of him, check out his stuff, have a little listen to him playing, check out any videos you can on YouTube, because he's definitely worth a watch. But thank you so much for suggesting this video for me to take a look at in the first place. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'm going to put the link to this in the description as well, so you guys can check it out if you want to. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you guys at the next one. Rock!